Hampshire's primary, when the polls close there, MSNBC's Stephanie Ruhle is in the middle of all the action. And Stephanie, what a night last night. And you had a chance all day today to speak to each and every candidate. The question is, do they hit all the points? And I know you've got some special guests to reflect on that very question.
Well, Richard, did they hit every point or did they get people excited? And I have two people to answer these questions. Senator Michael Bennet, who, of course, is running for president, and James Carville, famed Democratic strategist. Gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you.
Senator, let's start with you. You only have a few days left. What's the game plan?
The game plan is to keep putting one foot in front of the other to try to get New Hampshire to focus as they are in the closing days on who can best beat Donald Trump. I have today with James Carville, who I'm very proud has endorsed me. We're doing a town hall right after you, and I expect that to put me into the top three.
Mr. Carville, just a few days ago, you said on television you were scared to death.
I am still scared to death.
You thought Democrats were in terrible shape.
Yeah.
But you're sitting here with Senator Bennet.
Because if we nominate him, we're going to get 400 electoral votes and we're going to have 55 senators. And as long as that possibility exists, I intend on doing everything I can to see it back. There's no doubt in my mind that Senator Bennet would be the best president, but that is secondary to me. He would be by far the strongest general election candidate we have. So let's get the votes counted in New Hampshire and see where we are. I think we're going to have a lot of energy. I think this field is really fluid. I think you got front runners that are no longer front runners. I think you got a lot of internal action going on here. And we just got to get out there and just blow and go to the election.
What is it that you see in Senator Bennet, or what is it that you hear that voters haven't seemed to connect with yet?
Because, A, I know his reputation and I know his background. And I'm from the South. Right? I know that African-American voters are the core of the Democratic Party, not a bunch of urban people sitting out there on Twitter.
And you think that's who Senator Bennet resonates with?
Well, but he goes down south. We get him down south. And you're going to have James Harrison, our candidate in South Carolina, ask him to come. Senator Bennett's friend Doug Jones in Alabama is going to say, Michael, come down here and give me a hand in Alabama. Mike Espy is going to call me more to get him to Mississippi. I don't know if they're enough of a swing state. They're going to be people. This country is this party, and many elements of this country are going to unite like we never saw anything. And when we don't have that kind of freshness and momentum going into the general election, then I'm going to beef for whoever. I don't care. I mean, I'm going to beef for the Democrat. But if we end up with 280 electoral votes in the presidency and we keep the House and lose the Senate, nothing is going to change. We've got to think big.
Senator, this must excite you.
It's amazing.
But couple that with you haven't had that excitement on the campaign trail or with voters. Why not?
I think that the Democratic primary is different from the general election. I've run in a swing state. In fact, I'm the only candidate who's won 2 national elections in a swing state. And it's really important that you say the same thing in the primary that you say in the general election. It's really important you say the same thing in urban parts of the country that you do in rural parts of the country. James and I have talked a lot about education. That's a concern of a lot of Americans. It's a concern of a lot of people like the people I used to work for in the Denver public schools. If you asked America what the Democratic Party stands for in education, what you would hear is free college. The people that I work for in the Denver public schools, most of whose kids are kids of color, most of them are kids living in poverty, would say, hey, we want free preschool, and we want to know what's going to happen to the 70% of kids that don't graduate from high school but don't graduate from college so they can earn a living wage. So it's tough. I mean, you saw it this morning. We were together this morning. There is a different expectation among, I think of it sometimes as the social media base of the Democratic Party versus the real base of the Democratic Party. James's call that Democrats have to be relevant is really a call that says we need to speak to economic issues. We need to talk about how we're going to improve the middle class and how we're going to give people an opportunity to get into the middle class. It's that simple. We can't be distracted by every single thing that happens on Twitter.
But it's not that simple. At this point, think about the storm the president has been in the middle of, yet the economy, 63% of Americans approve of the way the president's handling the economy. And despite the fact that we just went through an impeachment trial, he's now reaching his highest level as you're giving me the no.
Yeah. Come on. Let's start from the beginning here. Like, let's have the election before we announce the results. That's always a good idea. Number two, you can go through any, and you got one, they get one poll. Okay, outside of people do. If you look at the polling averages, it's not that great. 55% of the people in this country don't want Donald Trump to be president. It is up to the Democratic Party to provide that nominee that fills in that 55%. It is without a doubt Michael Bennet. There's no doubt about that. So if you want to say, well, your crowds wasn't that big, the hell with that. We got to go to post Tuesday, and that's the plan here, and we're going to get some energy here, and we're going to take a shot. But and the next thing we're going to do is we're going to count the votes, and we count the votes, we'll see where we are. I think we're going to do better than people think. I think we're building things up. People are telling me this. I think that at the top of this race, there's a lot of people who are fluid, people who don't know, they're anxious, they're scared. And there's a new kind of Democrat. There's a new kind of campaign we have. You don't have to have what we've been through in this party, where we have answering every idiotic rabbit hole we can get to. We can't even count votes in Iowa. We get Michael Bennet out of New Hampshire. You're going to talk about a Democratic Party that is going to be enthused. It's going to be ready to go. And let's try that. How about just try that? Because I think we can do it.
And
I was just going to say, I want to make that argument with Donald Trump about the economy. I mean, he's lying about it. And we are now in the 11th year, as you know, Stephanie, better than anybody. We're in the 11th year of an economic recovery. He's actually creating jobs, notwithstanding the last jobs report, at a slower rate than Barack Obama was when he was president of the United States. Farm bankruptcies are up 25%. Farm income is down 16%.
And needed a record-breaking tax break to do it.
And he needed a record-breaking deficit-breaking tax break to do it. I mean, he is the proverbial guy who is born on third base and said, I hit a triple in his private life and in his public life.
Yeah, and look, Donald Trump inherited a good economy. Okay, he threw $1 trillion worth of stimulus in there and let everybody pollute as much as they want. Well, of course, if you let somebody not have to pay for scrubbers and they throw all of their stuff out in the stream or the river or the air, you're going to save money for 6 months. The consequences of that down the road are utterly frightening. I live in Louisiana. I live in New Orleans. The river goes right by my house. When I teach right by the Mississippi River. It was on the levee for 211 days. Something is wrong here, people. People know that. And you can say, well, but under Trump, we had this number of jobs. Well, we had the same number of jobs over Obama. But what are we talking about here? And it's up to the Democratic Party to come in and do an intervention and put a candidate up that's going to unite the country and that can run the country, and there's nobody can do that better than Senator Michael Bennet, D. Colorado.
I hear what both of you are saying, but how do you do this when the American voter, the American consumer, is all about short-termism? Who's entertaining me right now? You're giving me the correct answer, but we're talking about how people feel.
What you do, you go out and you tell the truth and you try.
That's what I think.
Okay, that's it. Tell the truth and try, and that's what we're going to do.
That's what my daughter, Caroline, who's here with me today, said to me. She said, Dad, if you run and tell the truth and you lose, no one can fault you for it. And I said, that's good, Caroline, because it's the only way that I can win. And you have to have a deep keel, and I think that's what we really need right now. You know, when he's making the arguments on the economy, we need to take him back, you know, on those arguments. We lost. James mentioned climate. He and I talked about climate last night, how important it was in his state, how important it is in my state. We lost the election to a climate denier last time. And we lost an election to a climate denier because Donald Trump made the case that if we deal with climate change, we will destroy our economy. If we ignore climate change, our economy is going to be great. That is a ridiculous argument, but he won that argument because there were enough voters who didn't think Democrats cared about their jobs and cared about their wages that he was willing to win. And I don't want to lose that argument again to Trump.
James, what does that tell you about the American voter, that the American voter was willing to vote for someone like that and might do it again?
First of all, he got 46%. So let's just don't go overboard here. He got 44.8% in 2018. He suffered the worst electoral defeat in the House ever. It was the highest turnout against him since women were granted the right to vote. His polling average is, 43.2%. But yet, the media is going, oh, he's so strong, he's so powerful, he's so this. No, he's not. What the problem here is the Democratic Party. And the problem is we can't seem, other than Senator Bennet and maybe Senator Klobuchar,